we're not just in a health crisis, but we're in a spiritual crisis, and those things are connected. And so many times during my campaign, traveling across the country, I sense that people are feeling disconnected. We have a whole generation of kids that feels alienated, dispossessed. They are in a existential crisis, not only because their health is, 77% of our kids can't qualify for military service. There's a purposelessness in their lives and no sense of usefulness or effectiveness or connectedness to their communities. And that drives also the chronic disease epidemic and the epidemics we're seeing of depression, of suicide, of alcoholism, of drug addiction. I think we have to address all of those things at the same time. We can't just say we're going to make you physically healthy. We have to...
That's a tall order.
Yeah, well, I think, we all have to learn that, we need to get up in the morning and not think about what am I going to do to make myself happy today. We have to get up and say, what am I going to do to make myself useful today, to be useful to my friends, to my family, to my community. And that paradoxically is ultimately the path to happiness. That connectiveness that you get from doing good things, from being of service to others. I feel like I was born an addict, and that these impulses are biologically hardwired into us. And whether you feel that way or you feel you became an addict or an alcoholic later on in life, the only way to overcome that biological impulse is with a spiritual realignment, a spiritual fire. And so I think, and that comes from connectedness to community. And, alcoholism and addiction are a disease of isolation. People end up in jails, institutions, and dead, or in bathrooms by themselves, or insulated by secrets. But they withdraw from the community and from connectiveness. And the process of getting sober is a process of reconnecting to community.
Well, minutes before your confirmation vote, there was someone who wasn't too happy. Watch.
Previous HHS secretaries have had a pharmaceutical industry background, have been a state health commissioner, have run health systems, have been governors. Which of these qualifications does RFK possess? You know the answer. None of them.
The qualifications that Senator Schumer is talking about there are the very qualifications that got us to where we are today. These are the people who got us to be the sickest country in the world. Those are the people that got us there. We do need a break. We need somebody different who can come in and say, I'm going to be a disruptor. I'm not going to let the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry run health policy anymore. We're going to turn health policy over to people who are actually concerned with public health. In HHS, in FDA, CDC, and NIH, there are panels that are made up of outside individuals, outside experts who come in and set policies. They set, for example, the food triangle, the food pyramid, the nutrition guidelines, the vaccine guidelines, the medical standards of care. In the past, those people, almost all of them, have severe conflicts of interest. So a lot of what I'm going to do is about radical transparency, about making people understand, allowing people to understand, and empower them with an understanding that if you eat that, it may seem cheap, but it's going to cost you in the long run. You're going to get diabetes, et cetera. I'm not going to take away anybody's vaccine. If people are happy with their vaccines, they ought to be able to get them. What we're going to do is give people good science. We don't have good safety studies on almost any of the vaccines. So I sued HHS a few years ago in 2018, and I said, show us one study, one pre-licensing study of any of the vaccines that are now, the 72 vaccines that are now mandated for children on the childhood schedule. And after a year of sandbagging, HHS came to the courthouse and handed us a letter and saying, yeah, there are no studies. You need to know what the risk profile is for these products.
Do you think the COVID vaccine was safe and the boosters were safe? I mean, a lot of people talk about adverse effects.
We don't have good data on it, and that is a crime. The fact that we don't have a surveillance system that actually works. I think the lower level employees at HHS, most of them are public-spirited, good public servants, good American patriots, and hardworking people. What I'm interested in are moving away the people who have made really bad decisions. For example, on the nutrition guidelines, people who have, there's people at NIH that were involved in the amyloid plaque scandals that derailed Alzheimer's treatment for 20 years. It's all corruption. Those kind of people need to be moved. If you care about public health, you've got nothing to worry about. If you're in there working for the pharmaceutical industry, then I'd say you should move out and work for the pharmaceutical industry.
And everything's good with the lot of family dissension, but you have a message to everyone out there who has mixed political families.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love my family. I was raised in a milieu where we criticized each other and where we debated, but at the same time we could love each other. And I can only wish the same thing for our country. We ought to be able to disagree with each other and not hate each other.